Hello and a warm welcome to Federal's special program, Capital Beat. During the recent Lok Sabha elections, Sam Pitroda grabbed the headlines for some comments which he made. He had to step down, and now Sam Pitroda has been reinstated back as the chairman of the Overseas Congress. Now that Rahul Gandhi is the leader of the opposition, we have a much more vibrant opposition. So, what are the challenges before the India bloc, before Rahul Gandhi, before Congress? And of course, what is going to be the new role of the Overseas Congress as well? Joining me now is Sam Pitroda from Chicago. So, thank you so much for joining. And my first question to you is that when I read the news about your reinstatement as the chairman of the Overseas Congress, I saw Jairam Ramesh's tweet where he said that he's back in his position and there's no room for any further controversies. Some tweet on that particular line. So your initial comments, sir, now that you're back on
Well,
the same
first of
position.
all, Nilu, thank you very much. It is always good to be with you. First of all, I want to really thank Congress President Mr. Kharge and Rahul Gandhi for the opportunity to lead Indian Overseas Congress. I have said it time and time again that 2024 is an important year and there are elections in many countries. I just saw a debate between Biden and Trump last night because there is very important election in America in November. And everywhere, I believe democracy is at the center of the debate. Globally, democracy has been shaken up in many different ways. You saw what happened in the election in South Africa, as an example. There is coalition there. There are going to be elections in France, in UK. So Indian Overseas Congress has a role to play in conveying to the world the voices of the people of India that came out loud and clear for democracy and protecting our constitution. Indian people have spoken that don't take us for granted. We don't want authoritarian mindset. Indian people, forget about the numbers here and there, have very clearly chosen the right path because India was at a crossroad. Either India can go in one direction, which is more dictatorial, top-down, religious-oriented. And Indians have said, no, that's not the road we want to take. We want to take a road that our founding fathers had laid out during independence movement, after independence movement, outlined in our constitution, where there is room for poor, bottom-up development, concern for jobs, inclusion, equality, justice, democracy, all of that. And I think this message is very global at this stage. So one task for us is to take this message to many parts of the world, and two, to build and strengthen our own organization, because Indian Overseas Congress has played an important role in the election. A lot of people went back to help candidates. You have met some of them. And it's important for us to revisit our own organization, restructure it, strengthen it, because pretty soon there will be state elections. So that's the responsibility we all have. I also want to thank all our Indian Overseas Congress presidents, members, workers for their hard work and their commitment to India. Hundreds of people went back, gave their time, energy, money to make sure that India remains committed to democracy.
But Mr. Pitroda, yeah, like what we see in the BJP networks that they've built this overseas BJP, because of which huge NRI participation is seen. So, are we going to see something on the similar lines that you'll have more of these NRI events where we will see a huge acceptability for Congress? So, do you have something in mind on that line as well?
See, for BJP, from my perspective, limited perspective, I would say their organization comes alive quickly because of the temple
Hmm.
activities. All the temples get charged up and temples are organized. That idea is very easy to understand. The idea that we have of democracy, diversity, inclusion is little difficult to rally around because a lot of people take that for granted. So we have a tougher task compared to them. You know, I'll give you an example. When Modi comes here, one temple, BAPS, or anybody could just
Yes.
get people in 50 buses and organize it. For others, it would be little difficult. So the comparison is not fair. Of course, we have a lot of work to do. Of course, we have to expand. We have to restructure. We have to recruit more people. We have to strengthen. We have a lot of work cut out for us.
Hmm.
And we can't sort of take it for granted.
Hmm.
So that's our challenge.
Right. So
But
you
going
feel that
back to India,
events, so you feel that organizing overseas events, especially revolving around democracy, diversity, they are more challenging to organize.
they are more challenging to organize than organizing event around a temple. It's very
Right.
simple.
Right.
Okay. Which is okay. That's perfectly normal. We accept that challenge. Okay. And also, I think people who are committed to democracy and all these bigger ideas are sort of professionals, very active with their own profession, thinkers, industrialists, businessmen, and they have very little time. Temple people go to temple every week for 2 3 hours, so their commitment is already there. You know, to find 2 3 hours a week from a professor who believes in democracy and
Hmm.
all that is very difficult. We understand that.
Right.
Okay, these are the realities of life.
So how
But
are you
going,
thinking of expanding the footprint now of
we
overseas
are in
Congress?
32
Which countries
countries.
are you there? Yeah.
We are in 32 countries. I would like to really see if we can expand to a few more countries. But
Okay.
within the countries we want to really expand in terms of activities, events, discussion, dialogues. See, we really have four major continents to focus on. One, we have America, which is US, Canada, and a little bit of Caribbean. Okay. That's the main focus, including Suriname, you know, and other areas. Okay. Uh, Guyana, um, cricket playing um, community in Caribbean. Then we have Europe, UK and EU. It's a big group. We have people in Italy, Germany, France, UK, Ireland, Netherlands, you know, Scandinavian countries, Portugal, Spain, and all. Then we have Middle East and Africa, which is a very large community, especially in Middle East. Okay, um, from Dubai to Kuwait to Oman to Qatar to all the Saudi Arabia and others, Bahrain.
Basically, you want to expand the footprint, but what I'm wanting to ask you is that what do you think is the biggest challenge now that you will expand the footprint to other countries and you will take the overseas Congress program to a wider network? What is the biggest challenge ahead of you? And then I'll come to the party politics and other
Challenge is
things.
really finding the right dedicated people with the
Okay.
leadership quality to build local organization, because ultimately it has to be built locally. So that is the challenge. And it's a continuous challenge. It is not something you say, okay, I'm done,
Right.
you know. But let's go back to your original question about what is happening in India. There, I would say that people of India have very loudly spoken, and that voice should be heard and reflected in five different ways, according to me. I'm not a political scientist. I'm not a politician in that sense. I'm talking to you as a concerned individual. People of India have said to Modi and the government that we are not prepared to give you full majority like you are expecting of 400 seats, 300 seats. We have clipped your wings. So you better understand what it means and you behave accordingly.
No, but the starting of the 18th Lok Sabha hasn't been
Yeah, I'm
very
coming to
encouraging.
that. I'm coming to that. Okay. I'm coming to that. So, first thing is that you need to respect the mandate of the people. And you must realize that business can't be as usual. And people are watching you. And people will watch you. Not just the local people, but the global community will watch you. Second is opposition also has responsibility, increased responsibility, because they have been given more strength by people of India. Saying opposition, you have to now play your role as opposition because we have given you comfortable position. So you got to speak up. You got to represent our voice. Third, people have also said to institutions that, hey, you got to be independent and autonomous. You can't buckle up or buckle down, however you say it, and follow just his master's voice. You got to really listen to the ultimate master, which is the public, and be independent, autonomous, and do your job. It is true for courts, it is true for ED, it is true for income tax, it is true for everybody, including university vice chancellors.
Right.
Okay. Then people have also said to civil society that we want you to be more active, vigilant, catalyst, and make sure that in democracy you play your role. And at the same time, people have also told media that you got to be fair to everybody. I think these five communities must take people's mandate seriously in democracy. You
Absolutely.
can't say that business is as usual.
Right.
That brings to your question on what is happening in Lok Sabha.
But Mr. Pitroda, before I come to what is happening in Lok Sabha and how the beginning of the 18th Lok Sabha has been, one curious question that now that you are considered someone who's close to Rahul Gandhi and with the Gandhi family, so now that Rahul Gandhi is a leader of the opposition, shouldn't you, I mean, shouldn't that reason be enough for you to come down from abroad and be in India, be with Rahul Gandhi and assist him more? And now that the challenges are bigger and he has bigger task at hand?
Rahul Gandhi has enough advisors. He doesn't
Hmm.
need me. Rahul Gandhi is smart enough. Rahul Gandhi has enough experiences. And there are many people like me he can reach out to. That is his privilege. Whenever he reaches out to me, it is my responsibility, job, duty to help him. And there are many others. So I won't worry about, you know, my coming down. I don't think I'm that important. Okay. I understand my
You're saying
position.
that you're not that important in Congress?
It's okay. I'm all right. I'm okay.
Okay. But do you regret the remarks which you made? Because, I mean, personally
No, I
speaking,
don't regret.
I
I
don't have
tell you
any
why.
qualms,
I tell you why.
I don't have any qualms in saying on air that when I heard your comments, I didn't think that it was, like politically incorrect. You were just trying to explain the diversity and other things in your own way. But do you regret the comments which you made? Because Jairam Ramesh has tweeted saying that now there will not be any room for controversy.
That's what he thinks. That's what I don't know where he got that. Nobody called me. Nobody asked for any, condition or anything. But that's okay. That's part of the package. I have no issues. I don't want to argue about it. But I sincerely believe that what I said and what I have said in the past every time has been twisted, misrepresented. This is my view. Okay. We can go back on each of these issues. Let's start with the comments on diversity. It was my way of explaining diversity.
Yeah.
You may not agree with my way of explaining diversity, which is okay. I accept that. But that doesn't mean I'm criticizing anybody, because I, at the end of the day, said, look, we are all brothers and sisters. We are all in it together. My wife is very fair. I'm very dark, which is perfectly normal. I respect that. Okay. That doesn't mean I'm inferior and she's superior. It is the mind of the racist that looks at that way.
Right.
Okay. So now you turn that around and call me racist. The funny thing. Yeah. What kind of a system is that? And the Indian media just labels me as racist. I was looking at some program yesterday because my wife wanted me to see it. Some lady, I don't know her name, had 5, 6 people debating about my comments. And it was such a funny show. And she was saying, what do you think the racist has been put in back in? And they just go on and on.
Yeah, but Mr. Pitroda, the way people understand your issues, or I mean, depends on the way people comprehend, and everybody is entitled to their own views. But the point is that the way the media has interpreted your views, the way people here understand, all have been saying that you gave BJP a handle in the middle of a hectic election campaign, and
No, no.
BJP got a point
Okay,
to just
fine.
rise.
Maybe that is true, Nilu. Maybe that is true. Okay, but the point is that comment was made a week before PM jumped on it.
Yes.
So for 1 week, it didn't bother anybody. Okay, it's a funny thing. For 1 week, nobody in the media, nobody anywhere took any objection. And all of a sudden, it became a national issue because Prime Minister of India decided to be the troller. Okay. So when Prime Minister started trolling, the whole country joined, which is fine. That's the way it is. Same thing happened on the inheritance tax.
Right.
All I was saying is that there is a system like that in America.
Absolutely.
I didn't say that we should introduce it. And who am I to say that we should introduce it?
Right.
I
No,
don't
but
have
good
such
to hear.
power.
Good to hear you in that spirit. That why should you regret or anything? I mean,
Yeah,
what you
there's
said
nothing to regret.
was your view.
Nothing to
What you
regret.
said
It's
was
perfectly
your
normal.
view.
And you
Yes, the
see, as
story.
human beings, we are all entitled to make mistakes. It is okay. But I should talk.
Yes.
Some people's job is to say, Sam Pitroda should not talk. Okay, he should be this, he should be curtailed.
No, I've
I'm
heard
not a
people
horse.
saying that. I've heard people within Congress saying that Sam Pitroda should speak less.
Yeah, but that's their privilege to say that. But it is my privilege to say what I want to say, how I want to say it.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
And
So
for
let's
that, I don't have to be a member of any party or anything. I'm a citizen and I'm a senior citizen. I'm
right.
82-year-old and I have a voice.
Right. So now the story is done and dusted, and I want to put it aside because there are a lot of other issues and time is limited. So I would want to focus on now that Congress has bigger numbers in Lok Sabha, but the beginning of the 18 Lok Sabha hasn't been very encouraging. Today also, we've seen Om Birla, the Speaker of Lok Sabha, he passed a resolution day before yesterday or the anniversary of the emergency. He passed a resolution against the Indira Gandhi, and then the leaders spoke about emergency. They made a great show about emergency. Then today we saw Rahul Gandhi's mic again being shut off in Lok Sabha while they were wanting to discuss neat paper leak. Then today Mallikarjun Kharge's mic was also shut off in Rajya Sabha when he wanted to make a point. And all they were saying was that, look, just put aside all the business of the house. Let's discuss the neat paper leak issue because it affects so many students. But the government was not ready for a discussion. So The government seems to be functioning in the same old manner. How is the opposition really going to get its way around?
I think people of India will have to, realize that your mandate is not taken seriously. People of India will have to watch this very carefully. Okay, it is not just the duty of the opposition, but it is also duty of the civil society. It is duty of the, you know, Indian administration. Okay. So everybody will have to watch this. It is sad that big issue has been made out of emergency during Indira Gandhi's time. Okay. Not that we were all happy with it. We understand the implications. But don't forget that same Indira Gandhi created Bangladesh. Don't forget her contribution and contribution of all the other leaders of the past. There is no sense in going back in past every time and in the process ignore present. See, what you're doing is you want to go back to past so that you can hide the issues of the present. That is what the problem is. Let us look forward. Let us look at what happened with the exam, students' exam. What a big fiasco. Okay, how can you deal with it? It is a bigger fiasco than
Assessment.
anybody can imagine.
No, but what is your assessment about the approach of the government? Still, we've not heard from the government anything on the deputy speaker of the Lok Sabha. They don't seem to be in a mood to discuss, to deliberate, to reach out to the opposition, and look at the manner in which the Congress leaders have been hooted when they said after their oath taking within the inside the Lok Sabha. There were so many Congress leaders who said, and other opposition leaders who said, "Jai Samvidhan" at the end of their oath taking, and then they were pinpointed, they were pinpricked. Now, what does this attitude by the government really show?
Well, I'm really not qualified to go into a lot of details of what happened on the floor and all. But again, as a concerned citizen, I think it is not proper for the Lok Sabha speaker and others who are in position of power to ignore real issues of the day, hide it under some historical event, and not allow opposition party to speak freely, debate and discuss issues really on the floor. Shut them off. It's just not fair. That's all. It's just not decent behavior. Okay.
Right. Another issue on which there is a lot of hype on the social media is the creaking infrastructure in India, whether it is the bridge collapse, T1 terminal of the Delhi airport, that roof has collapsed today, and there was one person who died. He was sitting inside the car. And a lot of things are being said about the speed and scale at which the infrastructure is being propped up, but there seems to be some kind of a quality compromise now. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi seems to be on a spree when it comes to ribbon cutting for all these infrastructure projects. What would you say now? And there are not one but many incidents recently. Ram Temple roof leak case happened. Then there's several incidents. Several examples are there. What would you really say to it?
I may have a very different view, and I'm sure my view may generate some controversy as well. Um, I believe we as a society do not pay much attention to maintenance because maintenance is seen as a job of the lower level people. Whether it is sweeping your floor and keeping your neighborhood clean, collecting garbage, or tightening a bolt, or painting a pole, or straightening a wire out. I mean, just go on the street and see how the wires are hanging all over. That says it all to me. With all the human labor we have available, we do not spend enough resources on maintenance of everything. And we cut corners in quality because you make profit if you cut corners. You use substandard material, you hide little here, hide little there, so you can increase your profit. But in the process, you rob people indirectly of the facilities. So maintenance has to be elevated in India. It has to be seen as a pride job and not a manual job of lower level people.
But how much of it is really bothering the Narendra Modi government about the maintenance? Because the moment you ask and raise questions on maintenance, like what the reactions came from BJP today, they said, "Oh, that roof, that airport roof, it was constructed during the Manmohan Singh government in
It doesn't
2009."
matter whose government is going to. What kind of an argument is that?
Hmm.
Okay, it is a national asset. Okay, during Manmohan Singh government, during Bajpayee's government, during Modi government is not an issue we are talking about. Okay, you see, this is where I have issue with all of these people. They just immediately politicize the whole issue.
Hmm.
Okay, issue is really how much attention we are paying to maintenance in our budget. There is no maintenance budget anywhere. Okay, there is very little maintenance budget. Normally, from my experience in the US, you will have 7 to 10% of your asset for maintenance budget.
Right.
Okay. And maintenance is pretty serious activity.
Right.
Even in my house also, if there is some little, you know, chip fall on the paint, I will take a brush and repaint it.
Hmm.
I do it myself.
True.
Okay. Because maintenance is part of a culture.
Yeah.
And we just don't pay attention. We need to develop maintenance culture. Maintenance
That's
of machines, maintenance of assets, maintenance of home, maintenance of furniture. Okay. But what do you do?
Now, moving on to the next issue about the challenges for Congress, challenges for Rahul Gandhi. Now that he's evolved himself as a leader, doing two Bharat Jodo Yatras, he's come a long way. And from what he was labeled as Pappu by the BJP and the BJP troll armies, today he is the leader of the opposition. But what, according to you, is the biggest challenge before Rahul Gandhi?
I believe BJP has spent crores and crores in systematically maligning Rahul Gandhi's image. He's a fine young man with good education, great ability to think strategically. He's young, energetic, totally fit. And like me, he also speaks his mind. And people, make a mess out of whatever you say by design. Okay. So I think Rahul Gandhi is a great leader. He will grow into it more and more because his fundamentals are clear. He is a custodian of the idea of India that Congress party and our founding fathers had evolved. And he will protect that idea of India all the time.
But how do you think the government will try and shackle him? Now, look, the multiple cases which have been lodged against him. Recently, there
That
was a
will
case.
go on. They will harass him because that's the nature.
Hmm.
Okay. We need government to be generous. We need government to be forgiving. We need government to be open, transparent. We need better communication with opposition leader.
But are you hopeful that Modi government will be all of this? transparent, generous?
I am hoping that they will understand the message of the 24 election. If not, people will remind them again and again. I hope people will remind them again and again. You
Right.
know,
But apart from Rahul Gandhi, we'll also have Priyanka, most likely, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra in Lok Sabha after she wins. Why not? What kind of a difference is it really going to make, according to you, when you see both the brother and the sister inside Lok Sabha?
I think Congress party has many leaders. You know, she will add strength to the leadership. Congress party has seen in the past variety of people, uh, and I hope that with the strength Congress party has now in the parliament, we can focus on state elections because next 3, 4 state elections are important, and people's support is going to be very critical in these 3 states: Maharashtra, Jharkhand, and I believe Haryana, and that will give further strength to the voice of the people.
But if you compare Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka, and now if we believe that maybe who will become the prime minister, if the India Alliance forms a government, or if Congress forms a government. So if I were to ask you who will make a better prime minister, Rahul Gandhi or Priyanka Gandhi, whom would you say is better?
It is not my job to select. You know, I care for both of them. I love both of them. I've seen them grow. I respect them both. It is for the Congress party to decide. You know, it is a question in the future. Let's not worry about it. I have worked closely with Rahul. I know him little better. Okay, and party will decide. That's the right decision they will make, and it's also their choice.
Yeah.
Okay, they have to decide also. I mean, they're individuals, and you can't just force things on them. You know, they have to take a lot of things into consideration on their own, and they all have different, view of the world, and we should respect that. I tell you, my own children don't listen to me. Okay, so why should somebody else listen to me? Tell me.
Hmm.
Because that's how we have raised our children to be independent, to be autonomous. We have given them wings, and then we want to clip their wings. That doesn't make sense.
That's true. So, towards the end, my last question to you, Mr. Pitroda, is that the beginning of the 18th Lok Sabha has started on a frictional note. There seems to be a friction. Doesn't seem to be a dialogue. So, what would be that one piece of advice you would give to Prime Minister Narendra Modi?
First of all, I'm nobody to give advice to the prime minister of the country. He is too big, too important. He's a leader, but as a older brother, fellow Gujarati who know him personally, who met him many times, enjoyed meeting him whenever brief meeting we had. It was always very friendly, very nice, very warm. My wife and I spent once, almost 45 minutes with him, and my wife had a very pleasant impression.
No, but if you had a warm relationship,
So
Prime Minister
I'm
was the
coming to that. So as a older brother, older senior, Gujarati, I would say be little more Gandhian, be humble,
one.
be nice. Don't be in a hurry to criticize everybody. Don't be in a hurry to take credit for everything. Don't make judgment on people based on little information you have. Assume that everybody is good. Assume that they all want to help India. Collaborate with them, cooperate, support them, and be a true leader who gives credit and takes the blame.
But when you resigned, Mr. Pitroda, then Prime Minister during in like I think in one of his interviews said that this is a poll gimmick, this is an election gimmick. After the elections are over, look, the party will reinstate him.
No, it was not a gimmick or anything. It was very simple. I decided in consultation with the right people that this is the time for me to be out, because no matter what I say will be twisted and misused, and party will suffer, because the real issues will be sidelined, and what Pitroda said will become an issue on the national media. So it is better to keep quiet for a while. And to keep quiet is to take yourself out of the equation. If you're out of the equation, then they'll focus on the right issues. Okay. So that was the plan. Okay, that's how I felt. Okay. Then it is up to the Congress party president and Rahul Gandhi and others to decide whether they want Sam Pitroda back or not. Okay. I'm 82. I don't need a job. Okay. But I have a duty to do. I have a responsibility, which I take seriously. Okay. I want to see India on the right path. And the Sam Pitroda that people look at today is not just the Sam Pitroda of today. It's 40 years of history behind telecom, IT, technology missions, water, literacy, immunization, edible oil, milk production. Then comes Knowledge Commission, Innovation Council, okay, Digital India, payment system. All of these things were done as part of a journey that I had. Railway modernization, report on the public broadcast system. I mean, look at the amount of work that has gone into this. 40 years of work, and you are just going to judge me based on one little comment I made somewhere? Come on. Be respectful. Understand the contribution, okay, of anybody. I'm not saying just me. Okay. You can't make judgment on an 82-year-old man on 2 words he said or 3 words he said and make a character out of that. Okay. What a naive way to look at it. Look at the whole journey. I gave up my American citizenship, to work in India. I never took any salary in India, not a dime, for 20 years. And then you want to judge me based on what I said here or what I said there? Have a conversation like this with me. I'm part of you. I'm part of your family. I feel for India. That's my roots. A lot of my cousins and nephews and others, are back home in India. Okay. So please judge me little differently. I'm very much part of you. Okay. And allow me to make some mistakes. I'm just a human being. Okay. And if I've done something wrong, tell me so. But tell me in a nice way.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's great speaking to you, Mr. Pitroda, and wish you all the best now that you're back again as the Overseas Congress Chairman. I think you have a great task ahead before the party. I'm sure you'll do wonders. Thank you so much again.